All right. Okay. So we're going to be learning about equations and inequalities today. All right. We're going to start with linear equations, and we're just going to be doing a bit of a recap of what we did in grade 9. So none of this is going to be beyond you guys. All right. But what I want us to start doing is I want us to start focusing more on inverse operations. And the reason I want us to focus on inverse operations more than the steps we've been taught by our teachers, things like transpose, take things over the equal sign. The reason why I want us to not focus on that is because when we get to literal equations, things are going to get a little bit hairier, and it's not going to be as easy as us going 11 minus 4, all right, or 11 plus 4. So here's what I'm going to do. Here's the steps that I'm going to take over and over again. You guys are going to see me do this over and over. However you guys get to it, that's fine. But I want you to be a little bit cognizant of what ma'am is going to be doing in this particular section. All right, let's start over here. First thing I'm going to do in order to get x on its own is I'm going to get rid of everything that doesn't have an x. So I'm going to get rid of -4. Now, instead of just doing this, instead of just saying I'm going to take -4 over to the other side and make it +4, I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add 4. I'm going to add 4 to the side. And what I do to the left-hand side, I have to do to the right-hand side. So I'm going to add 4 on this side because I want to make sure that there's a balance on each of the sides. Right, so +4 minus 4 will give us 0. So then I will have 3x left on this side. And on this side, I'll have 11 plus 4, which will give me 15. Yo, well, good luck, Abu. I know you're going to do great, so don't even stress. Okay, don't even stress about it. All right, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to divide both sides by 3. Divide by 3, divide by 3. So that will cancel. 3 divided by 3 will give me 1x, which is just the same as x. And that's going to be 15 divided by 3, which is equal to 5. All right, and that's where we're sitting right now. We all know how to answer these questions, guys. I don't think I've done anything revolutionary here. We're all okay with how to answer these questions. I've just taken extra steps, but I'm doing that so that when we get to literal equations, we've seen these steps before. All right, so here's your next work. Yes, Krulani, that's the one. That's the one where you have to solve for x in terms of. Okay, in terms of, and we will get to those in another lesson. All right, here is your job for the next 10 minutes. Well, I'll give you 15 minutes. I want you guys to answer these questions. All right, when you're done, pop your favorite emoji in the chat. Okay, I'm just quickly going to run to the bathroom. I'll be right back, guys. Narisha's all done. Sure. Is that a Japanese flag, Narisha? Oh, sorry, there's number 4. Sorry, Tristan. I'm loving the emojis, guys. Very cute, Emmanuel. Abu, is your emoji a chicken wearing a hat? Because I can't make it out. What is it? Are they saluting? Oh, it's a salute. Oh, sorry. Sorry. Everybody else has got a little less than a minute. We can put space for each of these. I didn't need space in the other lesson, so I'm going to need some space here. And we can all tell that LJ plays golf, which is pretty cool. That's all right, Abu. All right, let's have a look at our questions, guys. We've exhausted our 10 minutes. Let's have a look. Okay, let's start with number 1. Now, I know, first of all, I need anything with an X away. I need it all gone. Right, so I'm going to take -8 and I want to move it to the other side. So I'm going to plus 18. And I must, whatever I do on the left-hand side, I must also do on the right-hand side. So plus 18 over there. Because -18 plus 18 will give me 0. And I will have 2x is equal to 12 plus 18 is 30. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 2. And that will give me x is equal to 30 divided by 2 is 50. All right, 1 mark there. Okay, let's go to the next one. Now over here, I know that I want to get rid of the 7. So I'm going to -7 on this side, and I'm going to -7 on that side. Okay, 7 minus 7 will give me 0. So I will get -x is equal to 3 minus 7 is -4. I know that this is actually -1, not just -x. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide by -1, divide by -1. So those two will cancel, and I will just have x is equal to +4 and not -4. 1 mark for that. All right, let's go to question 3. Okay, again, I know that I want to get rid of this -5. So I'm going to add 5 on both sides. +5, +5, 5 minus 5 will give us 0. So I will have negative 4x, hi Lerato, is equal to negative 13 plus 5 is negative 8. But I want I want x on its own, so I'm going to divide by negative 4. Divide by negative 4. Cancel, cancel. And therefore, x is equal to negative 4 divided by negative 8 divided by negative 4 is 2. All right. Okay, in question 4, I know that I want anything with a y on one side and anything without a y on the other side. So I'm going to take y, 4y, and I want it to go to the other side. So I'm going to minus 4y on this side, and I'm going to minus 4y on that side. Right. Then I'm going to plus 3, because I want to get rid of negative 3. So I'm going to plus 3 on this side and plus 3 on that side. Now I know plus 3 minus 3 will give me negative, or will give me 0. And negative 4 plus, or negative 4y plus 4y will give me 0. So on this side, I've got 7y minus 4y. That's going to give me 3y is equal to 6 plus 3, which will give me 9. And then I'm going to divide by 3. Divide by 3. Therefore, y is equal to positive 3. All right. 1 mark there, if you manage to get that right. 1 mark for number 3, 1 mark for number 4. Let's go to number 5 over here. Now, I know that the thing that's bothering me is actually the divide by 3. So I know that in order for me to get rid of the divide by 3, I need to multiply by 3. Multiply by 3. Divided by 3 divided by 3 will give me 1x, or just x. So x is equal to 6. Again, 1 mark there. All right. Now over here, I've got 2 options. I've got 2 options in this next question. All right. So I can divide by 2 over 3. I can divide by 2 over 3 and divide this side by 2 over 3. And then 2 over 3 divided by 2 over 3 will give us 1x. And then this over here will give us 3. So I would get x is equal to 3. Okay, because the 2, that is 3 over 1. Okay, those 2 will cancel. Or I can do this instead, which actually works a lot better for my brain because I cannot compute fractions like that. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, instead of dividing by 2 over 3, I'm going to times by 3 over 2. I'm going to times by 3 over 2, so I'm also going to multiply the side by 3 over 2, because I know that 3 divided by 3 will give me 1, and 2 divided by 2 will give me 1x, or just x. Thank you, Abu, which is equal to, sure, my dogs are always going crazy. Okay, 2 divided by 2 will give me 1, and I will have 3 left, and that's the final answer. Okay, there's 1 mark there. All right, now number 7 is exactly the same as number 6, just with 1 step extra. Right, so first thing I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to get rid of the negative 1. So plus 1, plus 1, plus 1 minus 1 will give us 0. So I've got 3 over 5x is equal to 2 plus 1 is 3. And then I'm going to multiply the side by 5 over 3. Multiply the side by 5 over 3. 5 divided by 5, 3 divided by 3 will all give me 1x, or just x is equal to, and then the 3 divided by 3 will cancel, therefore x is equal to 5. Abu, where did the 9 come from now, Abu? Abu. Okay, be very careful, teach. Be careful. Okay, let's look at number 8 over here. Now, I know in number 8, the thing that's causing me problems is this 2 here at the bottom. That's the thing that's causing me problems. Okay, so I'm going to multiply by 2 on this side, and I'm going to multiply by 2 on that side so that those 2 can cancel. So what I will then have is 3 minus 4x is equal to negative 3 times 2 will give me negative 6x. And then I can just move things around, right? I'm going to I'm going to minus 3 on this side, and therefore minus 3 on that side. And I know that I've got negative 6x on the side, so I'm going to plus 6x, and I'm going to plus 6x on that side as well. 6x minus 6x will give us 0. 3 minus 3 will give us 0. So on this side, I'm going to get 6x minus 4x. That will give me 2x is equal to, That's cancelled, so that's just -3. And then I can divide both sides by 2. Divide by 2, divide by 2. Therefore, x is equal to -3/2. There's another mark. Tell me in the chat, guys, how much did we get out of 8? I got 8 out of 8. I don't know about y'all, but I got 8 out of 8. How did you guys do? Well done, y'all. Those of you who got 7, do we know where we went wrong? We probably made one tiny mistake. The last one. Yeah, I know. It's always the last question, guys. It always is. Okay, that's okay, guys. It's okay. We've learned now. We've learned the lesson. It's all good. It's all good. We move. We're going to learn from it. All right. Okay, so that was linear equations. So I don't think I taught you guys anything new. This is all grade. It's not even, I don't even think it's grade 9 recap. I think it's grade 8 recap because we do these kinds of questions in grade 8 as well. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to move from linear equations to linear inequalities. All right, now the nice thing about linear inequalities is that we're going to learn them the exact same way that we learn linear, or that we're going to solve for them the exact same way that we solve for linear equations. All right, so if we look at this one over here, what we're going to do is we're going to take x over to the other side, and we're going to take 4 over to the other side. So I'm going to minus x minus x, and x minus x will give me 0. And then I'm going to minus 4 and minus 4. And 4 minus 4 will give me 0. So on this side, I'm going to get 3x minus x will give me 2x. And that needs to be greater than 8 minus 4, which will give me 4. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 2. Divide by 2, divide by 2. That tells me that x is therefore is greater than 2. Now, what we're going to do here is we are going to draw a number line, because we've learned about how to represent inequalities on a number line. Do you guys remember? That was the first thing we did. Yes? Yes, Bob the Builder. That's it, Abu. Yes, Bob the Builder. Right. Set builder notation. Beautiful. Good. So we know that if x is greater than 2, I'm going to draw a number line, and I'm going to put a 2 there. And then am I going to put an open or a closed dot there? Good. We're going to put an open dot there. Good. So I'm going to put an open dot because this is not or equal to. And then I'm going to make x greater than 2. So all the numbers greater than 2 is what x will be equal to. All right. So we also need to represent all of this on a number line. All right. Okay. One last thing that we need to remember. Let's say, for instance, I give you guys a sum, and the sum reads negative x is greater than 4. Okay. Now, in order to solve for this, I don't want negative x. I want just x. I know that this is negative 1x. How do I solve for this? Correct, Abu, that's it. We're going to divide by negative 1, divide by negative 1, right? So as soon as I do that, I'm going to get x is, over here, I'm going to get negative 4. Now, the second I divide by a negative number, I then need to take the sign in the middle, and I need to change it. I need to swap it around. Correct, Fulufelo, but that's not the real reason. Fulufelo says the sign will change because we are dividing by a negative number. Yes, that's the reason your teacher gives you, but Emmanuel, I'll explain in just a second. All right, the reason why we do it. All right, Amina, let me explain. Okay, let's use actual numbers. Let's use actual numbers over here. All right, so let's say, for instance, I've got 3 is smaller than 5. Are we all in agreement that 3 is less than 5? Yes? We're all good? Easy stuff. Easy stuff. Now, let's see what happens when I divide by -1 and I divide by -1. Remember what I do to the left-hand side? I must also do to the right-hand side. Right, so I'm going to get 3 divided by -1 will give me -3 is less than 5 divided by -1 is -5. Is this statement true? Is it true? No. No, it's not. It's not true. So in this case, the reason we switch the sign around is because if we divide or multiply by a negative, the inequality is going to switch. So this then needs to say that -3 is greater than -5. Amina, are you with me there? Are we all good? Are you getting where I'm coming from, everyone? Give me a thumbs up. Are we seeing it? Okay, and that's the reason every time we divide or multiply by a negative number, the sign must invert. We must make sure we invert it because otherwise our inequality is now wrong. It doesn't make sense. All right. Okay, so that's one thing we also need to remember. If I multiply or divide by a negative, change the sign. All right, my handwriting could be better, but it's not. It's all good. Okay, change the sign. All right. No, Hulani. It's only for negative signs. Let's do this. Let's do this. If we do this, if we just go 3 divided by +1 and 5 divided by +1, that doesn't change anything, does it? No, it doesn't change anything. 3 divided by +1 is still 3, and 5 divided by +1 is still 5. So that one doesn't change anything. So it only works for negative numbers. Okay. If we multiply by a positive, nothing is going to change. Okay. Are we good? All right, let's get started on the work for today. I'm going to give you guys 3 sums to do. Here we go. Now, guys, remember to read the instruction. Don't cheat the system. Do not cheat the system. The instruction says, solve for x and represent each of the inequalities on a number line. Now, while the rest of you are doing that, let's talk about open and closed dots. Open and closed. Okay, so an open dot, we put an open dot if I only have greater than or less than. If I have greater than or equal to and less than or equal to, then I need to put a closed dot. So for greater than or less than, I just put an open dot. But for greater than or equal to and less than or equal to, I must put a dot and I must color it in. All right, I hope that answers the question that I was asked. It does. It looks like one of those Japanese faces. All right, Emmanuel, good question, by the way, just to make sure we remember. I always do this. Hee hee. Oh, sorry, guys. I feel like, am I blocking the questions? No, I'm not. You guys can see them perfectly fine. All right. No worries, Omi. Not an issue at all. Don't stress it. Kulani's done. Already popped a favorite emoji in the chat. Thank you, Abu. And Abu, yes. Yes, Emmanuel, it will. It will. So we will do finance at some point. We will. Yes, Omi, it is true. That's okay, Pulufela. We're going to go through that in just a bit. All right. Okay, shall we have a conversation about these three? It's guys, okay, MathsLit is a whole other beast, but we'll talk about that in just a little bit. All right, let's talk about these questions that we've got here in front of us. Okay, so we know that we're going to solve for this exactly like we would in an equation, except we'll have the inequality sign in between. All right, so we're going to first take that -1. We want it to go over to the other side, so we're going to +1. And what we do on the right hand and on the left hand side, we must do on the right hand side as well. So +1 minus 1 will give us 0. So I will end up with 6x is equal to -7 plus 1 will give me, ooh, why am I saying equals, guys? Ooh, all right, is greater than or equal to -6. All right, and then I'm going to divide both sides by 6. Right, and then that becomes x is greater than or equal to -1. Now, let's put this on our number line, guys. I'm just going to remove my funny looking drawings over there. Right, if I put this on a number line, if I plot it on a number line, I'm going to go to -1. And am I going to put an open or closed dot? Good, I'm going to put a closed dot, right? Now, the thing that tells me the direction in which my arrow moves is the crocodile mouth. We call it a crocodile mouth. Okay, so do you guys see how this sign opens towards, the sign opens towards x? The sign opens towards x, which means x must be the bigger number, right? Now, if I draw my arrow that way, what kind of numbers do I get there? Bigger numbers or smaller numbers? I'm going to get smaller numbers. So that x is not there. That's not where x is. So my x must go in the opposite direction because x must be where the bigger numbers are. Okay. So whichever side the sign opens to, that's where my line must go. So x must be bigger than -1. So my sign must open towards must go towards the bigger numbers. Okay. Those of you who were confused a little, are we okay with this idea? Good. It is a great trick, isn't it? I know, Emmanuel. That's why I'm a W teacher. I'm just going to put that out there. Just glazing myself, you know? Okay. Okay, let me get back to business. All right, let's look at this next one. Now, I know that I can't have brackets in here, so I must distribute. I'm going to start by distributing. I'm going to get 8x minus 4 is greater than 5x plus 2. I know that anything with an x must go one side, anything without an x, other side. So I'm going to minus 5x on this side and minus 5x. No, Khulani, no, they wouldn't. As long as it's a mathematically sound method, perfectly fine. All right, so 5x minus 5x will cancel. And then I know I need to get rid of this -4, so I'm going to plus 4 on this side. So those two will cancel. Okay, 8x minus 5x is 3x. And that must be greater than 2 plus 4, which is 6. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 3, divide by 3. So then x must be greater than 6 over 3, that is 2. All right, so let's go to the number line. If I put this on the number line, I know that I've got 2, x must be greater than 2, so 2 will be here. Am I going to put an open or a closed dot? I'm going to put an open dot because there's no or equal to. So open dot, but I know that my mouth, my inequality opens towards x. So x must be the greater number. The numbers bigger than x are going to be in that direction. That's your 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. In that direction. All right. Are we all good there? Are we getting it? Wherever the mouth opens to, that's the bigger number. Okay. Correct. It applies for both, Fellow. It applies for both. All right. All right, let's look at this next one over here. Okay, I know anything without an x one side, anything with an x to the other side. So I know I'm going to minus 18 on this side, and I'm going to minus 18 on that side. To get rid of 18, to get rid of negative 2, I'm going to plus 2x on this side. Negative 2x plus 2x is 0. On this side, 18 minus 18 is 0. X plus 2x will give me 3x. Is less than or equal to 9 minus 18 will give me negative 9. Right. So I will then get 3x divided by 3, 9 negative 9 divided by 3. So now x is less than or equal to negative 3. All right, so let's go to our number line, guys. If we go to our number line, we know that we are at negative 3, open or closed dot, correct, Abu, closed dot. But this time, my mouth opens towards negative 3. So negative 3 is the bigger number, which means my sign must look to the left. That's it. My arrow must look to the left. All right. Are we all good here, guys? Give me a thumbs up. How are we feeling about drawing things on a number line? Are we all okay? Beautiful. Nice work, guys. Excellent, excellent. Good stuff. Let's step it up a notch, shall we? We were always going to. All right, I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to do something really nasty. I'm going to change this to a minus. Let's look at question 4 and question 5, because these are actually algebraic fractions. Okay, they're algebraic fractions. So what I'm going to do, guys, if I've got something over 3, that's written as a fraction. So what I want to do is I want to write everything else as an algebraic fraction. And Abu, you are right on point, on brand. We're going to make sure we find an LCD. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write y plus 5 over 3 minus, now if I want to write y as a fraction, I'm going to write it as y over 1. And that's going to be less than or equal to, if I write 1 over 1 as a fraction, I'm going to write it as 1 over 1. Then we're going to look for an LCD. What would my LCD between these 3 numbers be? That's it, Fulufelo. That's it, Omi. Well done, Theo. Good. It's going to be 3. All right. So I then can write y plus 5 over 3. I don't have to change y plus 5 over 3. It already has my denominator in there. Now I know that over here I need to multiply by 3 and multiply here by 3 as well. So I'm going to get negative 3y minus 3y over 3 is less than or equal to, and over here I'm also missing a 3. So times 3 times 3. So I'm then going to get 3 over 3. Let me write this a little better. I don't like how it looks. Okay, so here's the nice thing about equations and inequalities, guys. As soon as I have the same denominator everywhere, I can just drop the denominators. I can just drop. So my equation ends up, or my inequality ends up being y plus 5 minus 3y is greater than or is less than or equal to 3. And now we can solve for y. Okay, let's go ahead and do that, guys. Okay, so I'm then going to get, I've got y minus 3y, that will give me negative 2y. And then I've got a positive 5, so I'm going to minus 5 on this side, and I'm going to minus 5 on that side. Negative 5 plus 5 will give me 0. So I will have negative 2y is less than or equal to 3 minus 5, which is negative 2. And now my next step is to divide both sides by negative 2, negative 2. Oh, Abu, do not put an equal sign there at all. Oh, I see what you mean. Okay. Greater than or equal to. All right. So negative 2 divided by negative 2 is y. And negative 2 divided by negative 2 will give us 1. But what's going to happen to my sign, peeps? What's going to happen to my sign? The sign will change. Good. It changes because I divided by a negative number. So my sign must now read greater than or equal to y instead of less than or equal to. All right. Okay, now let's plot this on a Cartesian plane, on a number line. All right, now we know that we're going to go to 1, and my mouth opens towards y, so y must be the bigger number. Right, and there's an equal to sign, so open a closed dot, closed dot. We're definitely going to have closed dot, and y is a bigger number, so we must make the arrow bigger than 1, where the numbers are 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and so on and so forth. All right, thumbs up. How are we feeling about that last question that ma'am just did? Awesome, awesome. Great stuff, guys. Okay, I want everyone to try the last question. I'm going to give everybody 3 minutes to try question 5. All right. Go for it, guys. Remember, as soon as we see fractions, we're going to have to find an LCD. So find me an LCD, please. Yes, Lulani, thank you. Beautiful. Our LCD is 12. I'm going to give everybody else the chance to finish up the question. Abu, you too. Get to it, dude. Somebody's asking, ma'am, what about the 0? 0 is just 0 over 1. Correct. Because 0 divided by anything will just give us 0. So 0 over 1 works. Princess says, ma'am, I got a very scary fraction. So Princess, I don't think we may have done it right because some of us have forgotten that it is a little difficult. True. Some of us have forgotten that this is a negative. And remember, this negative is multiplying this whole thing. That's my tip to you guys. That negative belongs to that whole part. So some of you still have this as -6, where it's not actually -6. It should be +6. And we'll discuss that in just a second. Actually, time is up. So we should actually discuss. All right, let's look at what happens. We know that our LCD is 12, right? So I'm going to look over here. I can see that there's a 3 missing, so times 3, which means I'm going to take the whole top part over there and multiply it by 3. So I'm going to get 3 times 3y plus 2 over 12 minus, now I know that there's a 4 missing here, so times 4 times 4. So this over here now becomes -4. So I'm going to have -4 multiplied by y minus 6 over 12. That's why many of you got -24 here instead of +24, which is going to cost you, right, is greater than 0 over 12. I know that I'm going to multiply by 12 times 12 times 12, but guys, 0 times 12 is just 0. So it doesn't make a difference, right? So now that I have the same denominator everywhere, I can just drop them, drop all the denominators. So I then can distribute. I've just changed it. I'm sorry, my darling. I saw exactly what I did. I changed it. I did. I put a 12 there. Sorry, guys. I did. I fixed it. Thank you for letting me know. I noticed as I was going, as I was about to cancel, I was like, hey, well, that's a 2. So it should say 12. Sorry, guys. I did. I fixed it. All right. So now over here, I'm going to get 9y plus 6. And then I'm going to get minus 4y plus 24 is greater than 0. And then I can just add like terms. I've got 9y minus 4y will give me 5y. And then I've got 6 plus 24 will give me plus 30 is greater than 0. And then I'm going to minus 30, negative 30 plus 30 is 0. Right, and then we're going to get 5y is greater than negative 30. And now there's no need for me to change my sign because I'm not dividing by negative. I'm just dividing by 5. Divide by 5, so 5 and 5. So I should get y is greater than negative 6. So when I plot this on my number line, I'm going to go to negative 6, open dot, absolutely. And we know that, that's it, Fulufelo, look at you. That's it. Y is bigger than negative 6. So my arrow must go to the numbers greater than negative 6 in that direction.